And the award goes to My Second Brain.
Wow, this is amazing. This is a dream come true. Well, I just want to thank everyone who knows me, my family, my friends, everyone at home. Hi, and no, don't stop the music. No, don't stop the music. No. No, don't stop the music. Don't. Oh shit. Well, it's been another week, so let's get on with it. Trying to put aside the Trump for at least one episode, I thought I'd talk about what's actually going on here in the UK, back in Blighty, a bit more. For those who aren't aware, all three of you, we are currently in a point where some of us want to get out of Europe, out of the EU. Now, whether you're for or against the Brexit or whatever it's called, I think the key thing is always to see where certain people are on the argument, and typically you just move away from whichever one you would perceive to be the least likeable, like your Boris Johnsons or your Nigel Farage's, which is fine because they're for getting out of Europe, which is great. But then you've got Smugbot 3000, David Cameron, our Prime Minister, who wants to keep us in Europe. So it's very difficult to know exactly where to stand. But given that I like Europe, I like Europeans, I like the multicultural diversity of everyone coming in and having a bit of a mix around, I'm all for staying in the EU. Why anyone would want to leave, I don't know. It's just seems to be another kind of right-wing, let's get Johnny Foreigner out of our country type of stuff. But when you realise how Britain, the United Kingdom, whatever you want to call it, consists of such a diverse culture anyway throughout history. The French came over here, invaded us, took us over, but we're not speaking French, which is a shame because I quite like the language, but that's by the by. The point is, I'm not too sure what the point is, but basically Europe great. Yeah, I think that's that solved. Moving on. We are in a golden age of cinema where there's nothing our imaginations can't create. We've got technology at our fingertips. We've got a vast amount of artists and writers and directors and actors and actresses and of across the globe who can bring great art to the masses. With that in mind, out last Friday was the new comedy from Sacha Baron Cohen, Grimsby. It tells the story of two brothers, one a spy, one a football lout, who are reunited and then team up to thwart the evil forces of Penelope Cruz. Now, you might have noticed when I referred to it being a comedy, the quotation marks came out. Now, I'm not a big fan of these, however, to call this a comedy is a failure of the Trade Description Act. It's just not funny. Unless your idea of comedy is seeing male genitalia, animal phalluses and more bodily fluids than you care to mention thrown at you in full 2D mode, it's just appalling. It makes you reevaluate the entire career of Sacha Baron Cohen, who I quite liked in Ali G and Borat and Bruno. And I think he's quite a fine actor in the other films he's done outside of his comedy characters. And Mark Strong, who is a very reliable actor normally, just looks embarrassed to be there. It's terrible. I will admit, I saw it in the cinema and there were people laughing. I'm not too sure if they were drunk or had some kind of psychotic episode or something, but it just is terrible. It's just horrific. The idea of giving AIDS to someone you like or even dislike, that's not funny. It has never been that funny. And if you're going to try to go for the gross out, hard, close to the knuckle type comedy, there are better ways, there are subtler ways of doing this. I don't know what's going on with comedy these days, but this is pretty much the worst I've had to endure for quite some time. Out on Friday is the biographical drama Truth. It stars Cate Blanchett and Robert Redford, and it takes place around about 2004 during the presidential elections in America, and it focuses on the newsroom based around the 60 Minutes TV show for CBS. It stars Cate Blanchett as a producer for the show who's uncovering George W. Bush's war record, and uncovering some evidence that proves he may have not completed certain elements of his tour of duty. If you're a fan of Aaron Sorkin's The Newsroom, you will have some kind of affection towards James Vanderbilt's biopic. It has that very kind of walk and talk element to it. It has a lot of drama purely built from the tensity of an edit suite, and it's perfectly well made. The issue I have with it is it just felt a little bit lopsided. I mean, I'm quite happy to watch a film with a like-minded, left-wing, tree-hugging hippies. I'm fine with that, but it never seemed to go too far towards the other way, just to see just a counterpoint. It felt very one-sided and a little bit dull, and compared to something like Spotlight, which was just a perfectly formed little movie about reporting, Truth just wasn't quite there. There's some fine moments. Robert Redford is fantastic, as is Cate Blanchett, because it's Cate Blanchett, and it's always worth watching Dennis Quaid in a role, but it's just missing that little bit of oomph to make it a classic media-based drama. On DVD next week is Criminal Activities, a new crime thriller starring Michael Pitt, Dan Stevens, John Travolta, and it's directed by Jackie Earle Haley, better known as Rorschach from Watchmen. It tells a story of 4 friends who are reunited during a friend's funeral, and they discuss a quick get-rich-quick scheme. Because it's based around trading, obviously doesn't go too well for them, so they end up losing their money and owing a lot of money to crime boss John Travolta. He decides to get them to kidnap someone for him, or else. So they do, and the film then goes into a typical kind of kidnap hostage back and forth. Meanwhile, Jackie Earle Haley is a hitman who's going around killing people and having quite Pulp Fiction type conversations. Back in the 90s there was a whole slew of Tarantino-esque crime dramas, and this feels like it was left somewhere in storage and brought out. It has the characters who aren't that nice, a bit unlikable. It has quite a bit of witty dialogue, a lot of shouting, a lot of F-bombs. It's fine. It is exactly what you expect. It has a couple of twists. Dan Stevens is great in it, as is Michael Pitt, and Travolta, surprisingly, not that hammy. Who knew? So yeah, it's a nice enough little watch. If you sort of not quite Pulp Fiction level, more 2 Days in the Valley, Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead type stuff. So yeah. Okay, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like, share and subscribe. If you didn't, please like, share and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at MySoCalledBrain. I've got a Facebook page. There should be a link to my blog just below. So that's it. Again, thanks for watching, and until next time, laters.